$100 silver. I'll let you be the judge by the end of this video, but I've got a ton. Literally, I mean, look at that. We got a lot to cover today, guys. There is so much going on related to the precious metals market. Somebody found 800 gold coins in Kentucky. We're going to talk about that, but more importantly, the lesson embedded in this find that all of us that invest in silver, invest in gold, need to remember. And of course, this morning we got the big inflation numbers. Yeah. And tomorrow, June 14th, the biggest day of the year for precious metals investors. Biggest day in the universe, biggest day in history. Tomorrow is a massive day. We will see huge moves in the silver price and gold price. I'll break that down for you as well. Plus, we're going to go through a little bit about those BRICS countries that are breaking away and starting a currency that a lot of people are thinking is based on silver and gold. And we're going to touch on the national debt. Same thing, right? Well, there's an interesting relationship between the national debt and the price of gold that I'm going to point out to you as well. First off, let's talk about this. Imagine you're a farmer in Kentucky. It's springtime. You go out to check your cornfield. You're getting ready to plow and plant your seeds. As you're walking through your field, you see something shiny on the ground. You examine it. You find a gold coin from 150 years ago. Wow, awesome, right? Well, then you dig around a little more and you find another and another until you found almost 800 gold coins. And that's exactly what happened in Kentucky. One guy found 800 Civil War era gold coins in his cornfield. And of course, he's not saying who he is. So if you're watching right now, my new friend from Kentucky, I love Kentucky, the bluegrass state, right? We love you people in Kentucky. We're only asking that you donate 2 of those coins to Ron's Basement. Of course, me and the bear, we're going to keep one of them with our greedy hands, but we'll give the other one away as a giveaway to one of our loyal subscribers. And I bet somewhere right now watching is that person who found those gold coins. Hey, doesn't hurt to ask, right? But guys, there's a big lesson, a big story that needs to be told surrounding silver and gold and this find of gold coins in Kentucky. Imagine somebody 150 years ago buried these coins in the ground. Now, imagine it was you. It was 150 years ago. You're going to hide these coins. Maybe you think one of your descendants will find them at some point in the future. You've got 3 choices. Kentucky was neutral during the Civil War, so you could bury gold coins, but you could have also decided to bury greenbacks. You know what greenbacks are? Greenbacks were the currency of the Union of the North during the Civil War. And from what I understand, you can still use them today. So instead of 800, let's just say $20 gold coins, you put 800 $20 gold-backed paper bills in the ground. Or you decided you thought the Confederacy was going to win the war. You buried a bunch of Confederate money in the ground. Fast forward to today, which ones have any value? The Confederate dollars would be worthless, right? The greenbacks, they say you can still use them. So you would have what, $1,600, right? Or you could have at minimum 1.6 million, probably more like $3 million worth of gold. Which do you think held its value, right? The gold and silver, there's a big lesson in that. Remember Dave Ramsey? He always saying gold is worthless, silver's worthless, and he even used the Confederacy as an example. He said, well, people that had Confederate dollars when they lost the war, they didn't go to gold and silver. They went to the Union money, which is called greenbacks, right? Well, how would have that worked out? No, the people that had their money in silver and gold, when there was a currency collapse in the South, they survived. Okay, I went on a little bit too long. What about these inflation numbers? What does that mean, right? Tomorrow's the big Fed day, right? That's going to be the biggest day of the year for silver and gold investors. But what did we get today? We got improving inflation numbers. Inflation's down. Yeah, sure, right? Do you feel it? Now that food costs twice as much, fuel costs twice as much, healthcare costs twice as much, Housing costs twice as much. Now we've got inflation under control, guys. It was like 4% year over year, month to month, I think was 0.1%. I don't know. How does this play into what's going to happen tomorrow? Look, tomorrow's a big day for silver and gold investors. I wouldn't be surprised to see a move. $50 or more in gold, and silver could be like in that $1.50 range one way or the other, up or down. Now, recent data, right? We got some unemployment, our employment numbers last week that showed that unemployment was going up. We've got data this week saying that inflation's going down. Everybody said the Fed was going to be waiting till the last minute to make their decision, right? I mean, the data that we're getting now would support a pause. But what's most important tomorrow, what's going to move the silver price and gold price, CoinShop Chris and I were talking about this last night. I don't know if he agreed with me or not, but I certainly agreed with myself, and that is the communication. Sorry, I had to mute you there for a second. The communication that we get from Jerome Powell. This guy, we haven't seen him for a few days. Don't forget, he's in a box. He's got inflation and recession. What he says tomorrow, what he communicates, is he going to communicate what is perceived by the market as being hawkish, like, oh, we still have to keep up the fight against inflation and blah, 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 which is BS, right? They don't really want to kill inflation. They can't. They need to devalue the dollar. Or is he going to lean more towards the dovish side? That's going to be the big, big deal. Excuse me. And it's going to move the markets. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tomorrow, in the comments, tell me, P for pause or R for raise? Let's get a little poll going. I'm going to go with P for pause, although I'm not as confident as I was about that 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, in my mind, we were going to get a pause. Neil says a raise. Neil, the platinum guru. Chris, CoinShop Chris puts a bunch of pause. Raise, pause. Casey, Sean, raise. Gregory, raise. The metal, pause. Boy, we are split down the middle, and that's okay. That's all right. We don't have to agree about everything. Annie Oakley, raise. Raise for the idiots. Raise. Pause, raise in July. Yeah, that's another theory people are floating. They're gonna pause and then raise more later. What do they call that? A hawkish pause, right? Come on, man, give me a break. So the economy's doing great, though, right? So they can afford to. Is the economy doing great, right? I mean, they can afford to raise rates and slow down the economy even more. We got news this morning, and this was, I found, kind of very interesting. Pyrex. You know what Pyrex is? Susie uses it. It's cooking dishes, like the glass Pyrex. I mean, very popular brand of like cooking, like casserole dishes, that type of thing. And I use it because I like to cook potatoes in the oven, but you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about the economy in gold and silver, and that's where this leads to. And it's not just Pyrex. It's the company Instapot, which I don't have one of those, but it's like a fancy crock pot. I do have a crock pot. Both those companies, Instapot and Pyrex, claimed bankruptcy. And why? Why? Because interest rates have gone. Remember when the banks blew up because interest rates had gone up? Well, now we're starting to see it more and more in the corporate world. Instapot, Pyrex, bankrupt, right? You better go to Bed Bath & Beyond. Oh, no, you can't do that because Bed Bath & Beyond's going out of business too. Well, anyway, those companies can't afford their debt because interest rates, they were surviving off of borrowed money. So when rates went up, right, they were borrowing money at 3-4%. Now it's costing them 7-8%. It doesn't work. They're called zombie companies, guys. And that's going to kill the economy. When the economy continues to get killed, Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve, right, they're going to have to be easy with money. Easy, easy, easy. I got a great article here written by a guy named Michael Mahari through Shift Gold, where he points out, right? Let's beat a dead horse. What do you say? There's a horse, a unicorn horse. Let's beat him, right? Let's beat the dead horse. Okay. Our government raised the debt limit. Wrong! Did the government raise the debt limit? Wrong! Wrong, wrong, wrong. They suspended the debt limit. There's a big difference. That's like your Visa. Do you have a Visa credit card in your pocket? Oh, yeah. Interesting, JJPMs. Cardboard box demand is down 25%. And that goes along with trucking numbers down as well, right? Thank you for pointing that out. That's a great trucking companies. Wow, that's Adrian. Awesome. You took the words right out of my mouth, my friend. The economy's in trouble, guys. Okay? All right? And on top of that, our fearless leaders, our respected and trusted leaders in Washington, what are they doing? Oh, they're just spending way more money than we have, right? And they didn't raise the debt limit. They suspended it. That's what I want to tell you. You got a credit card, right? Hey, wow, I got a super chat. Thank you, Mercader. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Never expected, always appreciated. You got a credit card. I've got a credit card. I got a credit card. Hold on a second. Here. I guess I shouldn't show you my credit card number. Oh, no, that's Janet. Janet does not have a credit card. Well, she does, right? It's called Our Country. Here it is. It's in here with Jerome. There, right? You've got a credit card, right? It'd be like your kid at college calling you up and saying, "Oh, Dad, everything's going great, right? I got this credit card now with not a $2,000 limit. There's no limit." Okay? Now, there's a direct relationship between the national debt and the price of gold and silver, for that matter. When I talk about gold, and I'm going to talk about the $100 silver, too. Don't forget. Don't forget. That's coming. But you look at a long-term graph of the national debt and compare it to a long-term graph of the price of gold, and there's a direct relationship. Because you know what's going to happen? There's going to be so much debt soon, and we're almost at that point right now, that tipping point, where the market, where the people, companies, institutions, whoever buys all this debt, they can't afford to buy it. There's not enough money to buy all the debt. So then you know what happens? That's when Jerome has to print money to buy the debt, because the interest rates on the debt are going to go so high to make it attractive for more people to buy it that it's going to be untenable. It's not going to work, right? It becomes a death spiral. No other way to say it, right? 40 trillion in debt at 10% interest is what? $4 trillion a year. All the government would be doing is spending everything they bring in and more just to pay, couldn't even cover the interest. So eventually, mathematically, our old friend Jerome Powell, he's going to have to print. And it's all laid out in this article by Michael Mahari from Shift Gold. It says at some point, this unlimited borrowing is going to force the Fed to monetize some of this debt. That will require a return to, remember quantitative easing? QE? Now, they always come up with new words to describe the stuff, but remember QE back in the good old days? It says, in order to prop up the bond market and keep prices higher than they otherwise would be, and that would make interest rates lower, the Fed will ultimately have to buy bonds to boost demand. It will buy those treasuries with money created out of thin air, right? Digit money from a computer. The Fed just, well, we'll make more money. Or you can think of it as turning on the printer, right? The printing press. Or if you care, you can refer to it as what a lot of us here in the basement like to refer to as unicorn fart dust, right? Hey, thank you for joining me today. Please, it really helps if you give this a thumbs up. And when we get to 100 thumbs up, I ring the bell 100 times. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Thank you for the super chat. That was super, super generous. Mercadar. I'm glad to do what I do. I love connecting with you guys, my fellow cellar dwellers here in the basement, right? Basement men and basement women, whatever we want to call ourselves, right? We are like we're sitting around a campfire at the Gold and Silver Camp, and we love to talk about this stuff. So you're very welcome. Appreciate everybody who is here right now and all the support that we're given. Let's talk about $100 silver. I catch a lot of heat, right? People say, oh, you're crazy, to think we could get $100 silver. You're crazy to talk about $40 silver. Do you feel crazy? Do you think we can get Keith Neumeyer, the CEO of First Majestic Silver? He regularly talks about $100 silver, right? And before you get to 100, you got to get the $45 silver, $61 silver, $85 silver, like Smitty the Silver Bear right there. Our good friend Pat Holland named him from the Missouri Freedom Initiative. Yeah, we need to talk about that some more as well, right? This wave of legislation going across the country to let citizens reclaim, not gain, reclaim. There's a difference there. Like the difference between raising the debt limit and suspending it, letting citizens reclaim their right to use silver and gold as real money. $100 silver. Couple key things going on right now. The premiums between the Shanghai markets in China, the East is draining the West of precious metals. I'm hearing that from several sources, right? They are sucking all the metals out of the West and into the East. And there's a difference, a premium difference between Shanghai and what we have at the COMEX here in the United States. Very, very interesting. Now, there was a recent report, and SD Bullion made a video about this regarding the Chinese, and the state media is talking about it, and there was an open letter written to their main news agency that we need to have triple-digit silver, and we need it sooner as opposed to later, or it will retard the development of humanity. Okay, it will slow down technological advances, and it's a big deal. And the Chinese are calling out the fact that the COMEX and the LBMA are manipulators. They're joking, they're laughing, they're like, oh yeah, the price of silver is affected by an unemployment number in the United States. It's ridiculous. And the leverage going on. They went as far as to say they want to get rid of derivatives and actually make derivatives a commercial fraud crime. Because, and I have a great video interview I did with Stuart Englert, who wrote the book, I don't have the piece of paper, but Rigged, Exposing the Biggest Financial Fraud in History. We were talking about this, the LBMA and the COMEX, they have their inventory levels registered. There's two key categories at the London Bullion Market Association and the COMEX here in the United States. That's where all the paper, unicorn fart dust, electronic, silver, and gold are traded. There's a big difference between eligible and registered inventory. The registered inventory is the metal that can actually be used to deliver, right? Because a futures contract's not that complicated. It's basically a date and time where you agree you're going to buy silver or gold at a certain price, right? And in theory, the person writing that contract should have that metal in a vault somewhere, but they don't. They got like a fraction of the vault for all those, a fraction of the metal, for all the contracts that are written. It is crazy. And that's what the Chinese are pointing out, right? And we've heard Vladimir Putin talk about it. I can never pronounce that right. Susie gets so mad at me. Putin, I don't know, whatever. They've all said, make believe, basically unicorn fart dust, the word that it's all a bunch of make believe. The Chinese say that the demand is definitely in the next 20 years, we could be out of silver, according to the Chinese. Oh, then this is where it gets super interesting. In this open letter, they go as far as to say we need an OPEC type organization for the silver industry, so that companies are able to get an amount of money that the silver price reflects reality, that they can control production and make sure that a fair price is being paid. Think about that. If there was like an OPEC for silver, right? The Organization of Silver Exporting, OSEC. Hey, you know what? If they want to do it, we'll set it up right here in Ron's basement. St. Louis, Missouri will be the new headquarters for OSEC. And I will say we are going to set the price of silver at $100 per ounce. What do you guys think about that? Huh? Right? Okay, let me read through a couple of your comments here. We got a lot more to talking about. LBMA. Wow, I didn't know that. Thank you. The LBMA went to zero. SLV is unallocated silver. Sprott PSLV, the metal is in the vault for a representative amount, ounce for ounce, and that's what BlackRock, right, the world's biggest institutional investor, that's what they recently bought. BlackRock bought PSLV. They have like $170 million worth of silver. BlackRock is the largest institutional investor in the world. Other big institutional investors follow what BlackRock does. BlackRock put the word institution in institutional. It's not a bad thing that they bought physical silver unless they're planning on using it to dump it on the market, right, to tamp the price down. It can only go on for so much longer, guys, but Stuart Englert, the guy who wrote the book, I got to see if I can find it. Darn it. He's a great guy. Watch the interview. Here it is. Stuart Englert wrote that book, Rigged. Let's see if you can see that. You can get it on Amazon. I got a link in one of my videos, but you can look it up yourself. I'm not trying to make money or sell you on anything, but great, great, great book. Oh, Stuart said, yeah, it's inevitable. He said, but like he laughed, and we all laughed. He said, but I've been waiting for it for 15 years, which I thought was a very humble, down-to-earth type thing to say. Hey, Tim Zub, good to see you. Hello, Gerald Draper. Hello, Angelo. Hello, Coin Shop Chris, who is always a great friend and supporter and does a lot. I couldn't do this, guys, without Coin Shop Chris or Susie, my wife. Susie's really behind the scenes, but Susie and I are going to do a video. And she's new to stacking, which is very interesting because my wife, Susie, is a female. And we are noticing a huge influx of female viewers on Ron's Basement. Now, I tried to attribute that to my dashing good looks, and CoinShop Chris couldn't stop laughing when I said that. So I think maybe it has to do more with and I said, that settles it. Women are smarter than men, Chris, right? That women are realizing the value, and it's so awesome that we have more female viewers right here in Ron's Basement. You are so welcome. Everybody's welcome. And it's great to have you on board because, we love everyone's unique perspective. And it's just awesome because it used to be, let's be true, I mean, like when I first started this channel, it was like 3% men would watch the videos. Now it's almost 15%. Wow, right? I mean, 15% women, and that is so awesome. And I'm getting great emails and great information from all you guys, but it's really heartwarming to see that that women are getting into stacking. Susie knew nothing about silver about a year ago. I have a quiz prepared for her, and we're going to do a video where I quiz her on some basics of silver. We'll see if she gets a passing grade. Nobody tell her I'm going to do that, though, please. Susie is my wife, by the way. Okay. Animated Bear, yes. Adrian, good to see you. Bill Arrington, good to see you. Jamie Hennick, good to see you. Tim Zub, Gregory Green, Richard Cooper. Don't buy silver today. Wait for it to dip. Yeah, let's talk about what's going to happen tomorrow. Massive move, very likely, in the silver price and the gold price. Everybody now, I was saying this 3 weeks ago that we were going to have a pause, and I felt much more confident about it. I'll be honest with you, 3 months ago. Right now, I'm kind of confused as to what's going to happen tomorrow. Everybody thinks there's going to be a pause. That should be, really, honestly, if we just get a pause, we may not get a big reaction in the price of silver or gold. I don't think it would go down. However, if they raise rates tomorrow, we could see gold and silver drop. Yeah, and I'm not thinking we get killed, okay? maybe 25. Now those are just the rate increase or pause numbers. What's really going to make a big difference tomorrow, what's really going to have the meat, right? The cojones or whatever you want to call it, is the communication. How does Jerome communicate to the market regarding their outlook that, oh, we're going to, we're going to be more hawkish again in the future. We're still really worried about inflation. It may require that we continue with our hawkish stance, but for now, we're just going to pause. Or does he let out some butterfly, fluffy, we think that we're getting inflation under control and that we can let off? I don't know. I don't know why my mind has changed. I just don't feel like that's what we're going to hear. I hope I'm wrong, guys, because I called for $2,200 silver by the end of June. But it's going to be interesting no matter what. Now, I heard a top analyst doing an interview with Daniela Camboni last night, and he brought up a great point. We gotta sit back. Remember this. The last 16 months, gold has been fighting against a headwind. It's like somebody threw you in a river and said, swim that way, which was against the current. And gold's done pretty well. It's actually made some decent headway despite having to go against the current. But, $2,200 gold. Yes, thank you, Pat. $2,200 silver, that someday. But the big key here is to remember that this headwind that silver and gold have faced, right, for the last 14 months, that headwind has been the Federal Reserve raising rates at the fastest rate in history. We're not at record high rates, but the rate at which they raised it, that's the fastest in history. What this analyst pointed out, and I had not heard it said this way, he said it takes 12 to 18 months for the lag effect of the interest rate increases to really feed through to the economy. So that means that right now, we're just starting to really feel the effects of the first interest rate hikes, which were 14 months ago? So as we move into this next year, all those interest rate hikes, all the potency of it, the effect is going to be hitting us. And, we're probably going to get to a point where the Fed is going to have to pivot. I hate that word, but pivot sooner as opposed to later. So it'll be, I just can't see Jerome turning dovish tomorrow. I hope I'm wrong. I hope my thought 3 weeks ago was that they would pause, but nobody was expecting that at that point, and that would be good for the price of silver and gold. I don't know. I still say, and this is probably the most optimistic thing that we have going on in the gold market, but the gold market bleeds right through to the silver market, is the fact that, look, we're at 1950 gold today. We are in striking distance of new all-time highs, right? 5% away from all-time highs, 6%, whatever. That's not that far away. Gold is the only asset class that has, in the last 6 months to a year, been anywhere near an all-time high. Okay, so if we go to all-time highs now, think about this. At the same time, we have sentiment near all-time lows. So if we go to an all-time high, and that perks up sentiment a little bit, because we're getting an F minus in sentiment. Let's say we go to a C in sentiment, it could be explosive. Absolutely explosive. Hold on. All right, let's go through. Gold is closed. Yes. Oh, another interesting fact, and I believe it was Neil that brought this up. Silver is the only precious metal that's below $1,000. Think about that for a little bit, and think about what the demand for silver looks like as we look out into the coming 10, 15 years. Okay. Hey, we got 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Crazy, interesting situation unfolding. Let's real quickly. I just thought the BRICS, August 22nd. June 14th, tomorrow is the biggest day ever for gold and silver investors. The other big day is August 22nd. That's when we're going to hear from the BRICS about this new currency, new union, big developments with the BRICS countries. The smart people in the room think they're going to back this new currency with silver and gold. But let me just read a couple stats to you. This is a Jim Rickards article. 17 countries have expressed interest, in joining BRICS. Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Pakistan, Senegal, Sudan, Syria, Thailand, Tunisia, Turkey, Uruguay, Venezuela, and Zimbabwe. So you got the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. You got 17 countries that have also expressed interest in joining. And you have eight additional countries that have filled out formal applications. Algeria, Argentina, Bahrain, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Is that just mind-blowing or what? Here's some other stats. If Saudi Arabia and Russia are both members, you have 2 of the 3 largest energy producers in the world under 1/10. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water. My throat's getting dried out. So think about that. 2 of the largest 3 energy producers. If Russia, China, Brazil, and India are all members, you have 4 of the 7 largest countries in the world, measured by land mass, possessing 30% of the Earth's dry surface and related natural resources. Okay. Almost 50% of the world's wheat and rice production, as well as 15% of the world's gold reserves are in the BRICS. Meanwhile, China, India, Brazil, and Russia are 4 of the 9 highest population countries on the planet, with a combined population of 3.2 billion people, or 40% of the Earth's population. All right, one more stat. I just found this. Oh, Sharon, thank you for the super chat. That's awesome. One more stat. And these are the BRICS countries. These are the countries that are explicitly saying they want to move out from underneath the thumb of the United States. Okay? I mean, can you guys hear me? Are you hearing that? I mean, just crazy what is going on in our world right now. All right, guys. Thank you for being here today. You're the best. I'm going to look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.